All right. Cool. I am preparing for anyone who comes on. Obviously, just I'm over here writing a few things down. So pretty sure a few people will pop in here and we can talk. I said I'd do more of these, so I'm going to do more of these. You know what I'm saying? All right. I'm jamming too, so I get to listen to a little music while I'm over here thinking. All right. Let me put this here in the middle. Okay. All right. So someone asked me a question in my last video that I did. They asked me, they said, other than meetings, what did you do with your time when you were early on? That's a good question. I know that I really put my mind in focus on a lot of stuff. Hey, Emery, how you doing? I put it in a lot of different things. So early on, I was focused on anything that could take my mind off of, the stuff. What's going on, Big? Hey, Emery, the kids are doing good. Just so you know, they're in there playing their Fortnite, and I don't know where Derek's at. I think he's with his mom. Just giving you a heads up. What is up, Big? All right. I don't want to mispronounce your name. Marid Deathy, I think. I am watching Utah. Awesome. Cool deal. What is up, everybody? Look, I told you I'm going to start doing these more, and I'm doing them. I'm going to try and keep my word on that, and I want to help people. Michigan, awesome. So someone asked me, what did I do with my time? Like early on, you're losing your mind. I remember it's so crazy. I had done a video some time ago on this channel where I had a dream, and I wasn't dreaming. I'm sorry. I was about to go to bed, and I was in deep thought, and I was thinking about the people who are still out there and what it feels like in your mind to be stuck, and how it's like a nightmare. Like, how do I stop? And I remember, because the crazy thing is, if I were to take anything right now, I'd be stuck. And I mean, it's like, I know that feeling. And so then you got to fight again to try and find a way out of this thing. Crazy. Devin, awesome to see you. Definitely want to see more. Absolutely, man. I'm trying, I'm going to do the best I can. Hopefully this thing takes off and I can actually start doing this. Someone actually offered helping to build a website that would help me out, because I'm not a tech guy. I'm just learning how to do this. And it'll be really interesting. I just saw Kurt, everybody. Cindy, hi. Nice to see you. Scentless Fabrication. Hey, pal. What's going on? Aubrey. Hey, brother. Scotland. What's going on, Paul? Yeah, I'm just happy, man. Kurt was sleeping when I went and saw him down at the jailhouse. He walked up and he was like, bro, I just woke up. What's going on? So I said, man, a lot's going on, bro. I said, I just want you to get your mind clear and rewire the way that you think. That's the goal. It's to try and get him to act different. That'll keep him going. He looks healthy. Like I said, I saw him yesterday. I told him I'm going to see him every day this weekend until I go back to work Monday. And I'll try and do a live feed every day this weekend. Who knows? We'll see how that goes. But yeah, what did I do early on that occupied my time? And it's very important, that your mind is occupied on not using, of course. So I did go to meetings. Sometimes I went more than I thought I would. I'd go 2-3 times a day. But sometimes I'd take the wife and do something that I didn't feel like doing. It's the truth. I did things I didn't feel like doing, but were suggestions to me. So like, she wanted to go to the movies. I was like, yeah, let's go to the movies. Great. And I was sitting in there, my legs wouldn't stop moving, and I was just miserable. But as I was in the movies and I saw that she was happy, I began to notice something, a trend that was going on. I was getting happier over time, watching others be happy rather than me just sit there and do things I wanted to do. Hold on, let me max this screen a little bit so I could see the comments better. Okay. Aubrey, awesome. Stick with it. Stick with a professional. Obviously, the methadone clinic can work. It can. I'm not a huge fan of methadone. I have family that has still been on it for 4 or 5 years. And I kind of thought in my head, I was like, I thought you were getting on to methadone to get off of everything. Like that was your goal, is to try to successfully come off. And that would be, anyone's goal was to get off the substance, right? So they've been on it for 4 or 5 years. They just can't find a way to get off. And so it's experience. So you're going to hear experience from me. I'm not a medical professional. I don't know your genetics. I don't know your body makeup. I don't know any of that, but I can tell you what happened to me and what happened to people that I've bumped into, and people have talked to me. People ask me about kratom, and I've never experienced kratom. I hear it can work, but I hear it's easy to want to abuse because it does work successful. So it's one of those things I don't know from experience. But yeah, as long as we're not out there in the street doing the dirt that we were doing, that's a good step in the right direction, in my opinion. Let's look. I'm up to 55 a day. Okay. Yeah. As long as you're not out in the streets, that's good. Yesterday marked the first day feeling sober, felt normal. It feels great. I no longer miss the high. That's awesome, big. And that's a tough thing to get out of your head is that you feel like you're missing something. You constantly feel like something is missing, and you just want that normal feeling, like where you can feel happy naturally, and that's what I like to call normal, is where you can get the natural highs and the lows that just come natural. And I get those now. It's really cool. It took a while for my body to adjust. It really did. I thought after 1 month, I'm like, oh, I'm back. I'm totally normal. And then I realized, like, over the next year, I was like, wow, a lot changed. I feel like I'm normal now. And here I am at 3 years still thinking, hey, now I have anything. Everything's normal. Everything's great. And stuff's still changing. So I'm happy. I'm really happy. Paul, would love to see more over here too, brother. Your videos are brilliant. Thank you, Paul. I really appreciate that, man. I try to come from the heart. I really do. Try Squarespace. Very simple, easy to use. Best way to build a professional-looking website. Devin, awesome. Good advice, man. I'll write that down. Let me write that down real quick. Squarespace. And it's a free website? Wondering if you could answer me that. What advice do you have for the family of an addict? Ooh, he's currently in jail, and I have no idea what to say to him besides knock it off. I know, Cherry, what you're talking about. My mom does that. So my mom did that with me. She didn't know how to get me to get clean. My mom did that with Kurt. She still does that with Kurt. Kurt, knock it off. And that's all they know. So you can't knock the family member. They don't really know what to do. I mean, they're going off of their feelings and how they feel. They don't understand necessarily. It's easier said than done is the best way I could put it. But long story short, when it came down to my mom, she still does this today, is they need to get involved in a group or program or someone who understands this and stay involved with that. My pops from Canada says they need to get rid of people, places, and things right off the bat. And you hear about that in meetings a lot too. But a lot of times it's the people who influence us and get us on that path and bring us right back. Someone wrote me a message earlier from a video I did yesterday, how their girlfriend was smoking, heroin in the basement. They didn't know about it. So it ended up caused him to relapse. He ended up relapsing because that's his girl, and I mean, it's tough. It's tough. You got to get to a place where people don't affect you as much, and you're strong in your sobriety. You're strong in your mind and your mental capabilities of not relapsing. You have different problem solving skills instead of going to the substance. I'm wanting to get to between 150 and 250 milligrams for probably a year or so before I tip it on. Wow, Aubrey, that's a lot to get up to, in my opinion. I don't know if you'll need to get that high, but talk to them. They would understand more about the methadone than I would. But they would know. They would know. I don't want to give you that advice, and I'd be wrong. Meditate in the morning. What would you do if you live in a small rural town where all the users are in the meetings with you, easy to screw up? I guess the best way, that's a good question. I think it's Meredithy, is how do you go to a meeting where there's your drugs and your drug dealers, I've heard people say they go to like NA meetings and they end up having that problem. This is why I went to Alcoholics Anonymous. It worked for me. They're a little stricter sometimes. And I went in there and I just played the game. I mean, you could say, hey, my name's Joe and I'm an alcoholic, even if you are a drug addict. To me, I don't give a shit about the title. It's about what the message is behind it, and it works. So that worked for me. But I don't know what kind of stuff you have. Do you have Smart Recovery? Do you have any type of detox center that you can go to and get involved in some type of outpatient treatment? There's a lot of methods. It's so recommended, man. I watch people's videos on YouTube. Beautiful people. I mean, beautiful young people who are talking, and they're like, I'm 3 days and I just got off, and next thing you know, they relapse. And it's like you can hear them while you're watching them, that there's like the two wolves in the head theory. You know, they say there's a good wolf and there's a bad wolf. Which one you feed the most? And the one that's bad usually wins every time with this addiction. So how do you feed the good wolf? How do you overcome the bad wolf every time? Well, that is where you have to learn how to feed that wolf. And that is actions. These are why you got to take steps. Whether you're in a 12-step program like what AANA or any other type of, recovery program will give you the tools or give you the food to feed the good wolf. And eventually the good wolf can go a little bit without food, and you're realizing that the bad wolf is getting further and further away. It's strange how that works, but early on you feel like you're bipolar. You feel like you might be schizophrenic because you're like, I have to quit. I'm going to stop. I'm going to stay clean. And then it doesn't take but 10, 15, 20 minutes before you're already thinking, I want to use. And then boom, no, I have to quit. So it's like two personalities are battling. The two wolves is how I describe it. And I used to think I was nuts. I literally thought I was crazy because one moment I was absolutely for recovery. And the next moment I was like, I just want to go get high. What? And that is insanity, doing the same things, expecting different results. You convince yourself that you can do it this time or whatever. The little voice in your head tells you, look, just control it, and we can't. We can't stop. And that's part of this thing. Okay, I don't know what I would do with that other than maybe check out an AA meeting or something other than narcotics, because you probably won't bump into the same people if they have that. I don't know what they have, or do online communities. They've got, dude, the web is growing so much that you can practically do everything you can do online. I mean, I know people who order groceries online and then they'll go up to the store and it's already ready for them to pick up, or they can get them delivered. So the web's starting to grow and make these things better. Energy and drive to want to work and live a normal life. Absolutely, Aubrey. I know that feeling. And I was depressed at first for a while because I couldn't get it. Man, I'm 3 years clean and I still think about pills 20 to 30 times a day. I think it's because I have a 6-inch my neck and 15 in my back. It's still fight because of pain. Yeah. Okay. So you're experiencing pain, Sentineless. I see. It's one of those things that my wife lives with pain. She's got like multiscoliosis. She's got deteriorative spinal disease. She's got a lot of things. And, that's a tough situation to live in because she's been prescribed perks. And I'm over here, a drug addict trying to get off. How do I stay clean? And yet she is able to be prescribed medically for actual purposes. And yet it's in the house. How am I clean? This shouldn't be. I shouldn't be clean after, knowing she has medication in the house, right? Well, the same thing, like I said with my mom's purse yesterday. She would never have left her purse in front of me or with me by myself. Like, my mom leaves her fucking purse in my possession. What? I used to steal out of mom's purse. I used to do the most grimy things. I would play tricks and find a way to get it to go to the ATM, pull out cash. So how do I live in a house where that is and yet I don't use? New tools, new methods. I fed the good wolf so much that it beat up the bad wolf, and the bad wolf is far away. Now, if I deliberately want to go find the bad wolf in my mind, I can. But like I said, I've got a great wolf in the backyard right now, and I just stick with him because he's a good one. Anyway, and that's literally, I got a half wolf, half husky. So that analogy is somewhat real. Okay, let's see. What do you consider writing to my nephew? Okay. Would you consider writing to my nephew? I don't have the experience to relate to him. Breaks my heart. Cherry, if you would, have your nephew come on here. I don't know. He could reach out to me on Facebook, Instagram. I'm trying to open up more avenues where people can reach me and get in contact. So tell them to reach out here. I thank you, Big. I use metaphors I understand, and that's all I try to do. Drug dealers go to meetings and get back people tying to get clean. That happens out here in Vegas. I believe it. I've heard a lot of people's experience that drug dealers are at the meetings and they've gone there. Devin, that's what's up, man. Thank you. Appreciate that $5 donation, man. Really appreciate that. I'm getting down these comments. If you got any questions, man, reach out. Like I said, Instagram, Facebook. You can write me here. There's a lot of community within my YouTube channel where a lot of people with a lot of time give advice too. But I appreciate that, the positive motivation, man. That's awesome. You simply got to fully believe in what you're doing. I cannot pronounce your name and it is in another language, but thank you. You're absolutely right. And you have to believe in yourself too. I mean, this is, man, there's so much that goes on early on in this thing. I'm still to this day, I'm 3 years clean and I'm still working on my life. Believe it or not, you think it's just the drugs at first. And I'm sure a lot of you are like, here he goes. He's preaching to the choir. We know it's more than just the drugs that are the problem. And that is the biggest truth you can know is there's so many things in your life. There are patterns we practice that bring us to the drugs. So the drugs is the first step. The next step is all those little things that we have in our life that make us go back to them. That's why I can live in a house where if my wife is prescribed medication, I don't go and pop those pills or steal her Percocet and end up back on heroin. Or if I walk in a house with alcohol, I'm not over there trying to sneak a shot. So there's a lot of things that I do differently and I've practiced. And now I'm working on another step with my marriage. I know it doesn't seem like that would have anything relevant to this, but it has everything to do with this. My life of bettering how I can become a less selfish person and practice becoming a man who loves his wife and kids. I would never have thought this way. I was so focused on doing the drugs and stealing to get my habit, all that I thought I was just a horrible person. And then I realized, wow, anyone can change if they really are able to pursue it. Once again, thanks for that donation, Devin. Derek, I can help you with your website. Let me know what you're looking for. I can give you some pointers and advice. I have skills. See, I don't have those skills, Sherry. So be sure to reach out to me. Hit me up on Facebook, like I said, or Instagram or anything like that, and we can talk. Broken and never give up life. To all those in this stream who are fighting, stay strong. Remember what you're fighting for. Your family loves you. Cherry, yes. Thank you. And they do. My mom, on that note, my mom actually, when I was getting clean at the lady's house that I was recovering, and you can check out my videos, you kind of get little hits here and there, get hints of what I went through. Mom looked at me after I'd done all the things that I'd done, stole all the money, lied, did everything. She looked at me and she kept saying, son, I just want you to know that I love you. And I looked at her and I was like, I know, Mom, I know. And then she's like, no, you don't understand that I love you, son. No matter what, I love you. She kept hitting me with that. And I was like, it started tugging at my heart because I had done so many wrong things. And I was like, Mom, you're getting me emotional. Okay. I know you love me. All right. She says, no, you don't understand. She kept hitting me with it. And it was tugging at a spot that I hadn't felt in a long time because we do a lot of things and we have a lot of anger while we're using. Sad thing about us in that perception, I can experience it, is while we're using, we have such anger towards all these people. The people that we hurt, we're mad at. And why? Because they've said things to us or did things back and we're pissed. That's the whole point of trying to find out what you did wrong in the situation. But the lady at the house, when I said, all right, Mom, I understand, she interrupted and she said, excuse my language, everybody. She looked at me and she said, Derek, shut the fuck up. I have never had a woman so blatantly that firm say that to me. And I felt like hitting her. It was that angry. I was that angry. I wanted to just pop. And she goes, you want to hit me, don't you? I bit my tongue. And she turned to my mom and dad and she said, Mike, because that's my dad's name, and my mom's name is Patty. She said, Patty, get Mike the Giving Tree by Shel Silverstein. the book Shel Silverstein, the poems that are written for like children, The Giving Tree. And I'm thinking, this chick is nuts. Like, she just cussed me out. She pisses me off. She's telling my mom to get The Giving Tree by Shel Silverstein for my dad. I'm thinking, why aren't you telling her to buy, addict parents or addicts, parents of addicts or something like that? I didn't understand what was going on. So I was so mad. I said, all right, that's it. I'm going to go to my room. I'm going to go detox. Leave me alone. You know what I mean? I was really upset. My dad called me later on that night. He's not a very spiritual guy, but if something really happens, he thinks about it. And he called me. He says, son, your middle son, Caleb, came to me and wanting to color in one of these books. And I looked at the book, and it was The Giving Tree by Shel Silverstein. It was that night. And he said, where did you get this? In that box, Grandpa. So he called my mom in there, and she said, before we went and saw Derek that day, we bought a box from the flea market that was down there off Bragg Boulevard in Fayetteville, North Carolina. And in that box was The Giving Tree by Shel Silverstein. The hairs on my arms stood up because I was like, what are the odds that happened? And he says, son, I don't know what's trying to tug at your heart or what's trying to help you here, but this to me would be a sign. You need to grab a hold of something and run with this, because this is crazy. And so I thought, whoa, that's a crazy coincidence. But in my head, I was talking to myself and I was saying, if that's you, whatever you are, people call it God, the spirit of the universe, whatever. If that's you, I need your help. And I cried out inside. I didn't say a formal prayer. I didn't say anything like a typical person would, but I said something inside of my mind. It was deep. And I said, if you want me to get this, I need help. It might be me talking to my own higher conscience. I don't know. But I felt like I was going somewhere with this. And sure enough, it helped. And little signs started happening. So the day I left her house, which was 4 days later, on the front page of the newspaper in Fayetteville, North Carolina, which is where I live, there was a heroin epidemic sweeping North Carolina. And there was a woman with her arm, and she had a belt and a syringe. And I said, oh my goodness, the day I left this lady's house here, this is on the front page of the newspaper. There was a guy in there who was named Sean, and he was going to a nearby place that had meetings. I went and saw him. I met this guy, and we became close friends. He relapsed since then. I tried, being right there with him, but he had, went on his own path. And it was amazing, though, the signs and the little things that kept coming as I went. And I got a job at a solar company. I mentioned this last time. The day I got hired at the solar company, on the front page of the newspaper, this was a couple months after I had gotten clean, it said, solar panels sweeping North Carolina. Now I'm a supervisor for a solar company. All right, going back to the stream. Brother, I'm so proud of you and your YouTube channel. Thank you, Aubrey. I appreciate that. Really do. Congrats on making it to day 7. Keep with it. When he gets out, I'll tell him. Okay, definitely, Sherry. You're doing such a good thing, brother. Appreciate that. I've learned the hard way that my daughter has got to want it or she won't get clean. That is true. They have to want it to some extent. It's not as easy as saying, oh, they absolutely just want it, because there's that other wolf that is there, and that other wolf will be there, and eventually it'll get its ass kicked from the good wolf if you feed the good wolf. But that other wolf is there. So if you see that they want it and they try and then they end up relapsing, don't look at them like, oh, well, they didn't want it. No, that's the thing. That's the thing. I've caught myself thinking that with Kurt. And my pops from Canada had to correct me and explain to me what was going on in the brain. And that's when I understood. I said, hey, Kurt's trying to fight this thing. He is. And it's beating his ass right now. But I'm hoping he feeds the good wolf and it'll win in the end. That's my goal. My nephew's 41. He's been doing drugs forever. Yeah. This thing touches all of our families. Everyone just about in this world has to deal with something like this. Thank you for sharing and being so real. It helps me on a daily. I've struggled with going back and forth, and I'm now trying to work on myself so I don't keep going back. You're an inspiration. Thank you, Sarah. Good job in battling, brother. Thank you, Ari. Life will give you little hints of success just to remind you what you're looking for and to keep you going. True that. True that. Good luck with everything, Sarah. I mean it. See, you get love from the people on the channel, and this is how YouTube works. I love the community that we have. Good luck with everything, Sarah. Okay, remember that from your videos. What's up, George? How you doing? Thank you, guys. I'm extremely determined in therapy too. Can't do it alone, and I'm very stubborn, so I had to let go and let God. Stubborn. Trust me. I've experienced that. I know what that's like. I'm a prideful guy. I really am. Even to this day, this is why I'm trying to work with my pops. He understands that. But, I'm not only that, I'm cocky too sometimes. I saw this post on Facebook. It was a meme, and it was kind of funny to me because I could relate. And it was a guy and a girl arguing, and the meme said, it said her, and she said, "I'm leaving you because you're too cocky." And he responds by saying, "Well, make sure you shut the door on your way back in." That's so wrong, but it made me laugh because it's like, wow, that's such a Lambert. We're such hard-headed, people sometimes. You've really helped me personally, and I appreciate all that you're doing. Thank you. And for all that you do, brother. Randy Waters, thank you. Appreciate that kind compliment. And everybody, I hope you've had a great Black Friday. Nobody's been hurting people trying to get buying stuff on this day. It is weird how the day after Thanksgiving, everyone is like fighting each other to get stuff. It's like, we're so thankful. And then, I see all the people talk about that. We're so thankful. We're so we have such gratitude. Thank you for this turkey. And then that very night, now they're doing it Thursday nights, people are out there killing each other trying to find a flat screen TV. Paul, thank you. Thank you for being here. Trying to find you in Instagram. You're a star, buddy. Love from across the pond. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. And y'all really motivate me. I can't tell you how many times these comments have really saved my ass. That's dead serious. The worst thing I've experienced so far is talking to people who remember you were high and your pupils are much larger and they think you're high when you're sober. A strange one. It's funny, XC, because my day 7 video, people accuse me over and over. Your eyes are pinned. You, and I have heard everything under the sun on this YouTube channel, like on just me doing this. I've heard everything you can imagine. And I'm just like, I'm just going to be true to myself. Like, you don't have to believe me. If you can relate, that's all that really matters. But you don't have to believe that day 7 I was clean. I don't care what you think. I'm going to keep putting the material because all they had to do was click more videos and see the time and the experience. If you are a recovering drug addict or even a current drug addict, what I'm saying, in some sense, maybe not all of it's relatable, but in some sense, it resonates within, and you go, oh, you know what? I know he knows a little bit about what he's talking about. That right there is enough for me. But I had my cup of coffee. I had just come from a meeting and I thought I can make it. But I didn't upload the video till after my 30 days because I did not know if it would be successful. And I watched a guy who actually relapsed doing a YouTube video. And it kind of like, for me, we think we're going to be embarrassed by relapse. And a lot of people are shy or ashamed of that. Don't be. Sometimes that's part of the process. I'm at university and I'm really worried about my weed consumption. Well, I hear a lot of people say that. And now you've got the legal, weed is legal in Canada now. My father from Canada has been telling me all about it. And he's not sure how it's going to affect everything else in light of the epidemic with heroin and opiates and whatnot that goes on. Hopefully it'll take that away some, I'd hope, because it's a much better thing than doing heroin or anything like that. But, it's strange how it's becoming more legal, and yet people want to act like that means it's good. It's probably good medically for a lot of reasons, and I'm not at all educated in all those ways, but I have seen videos of people who have seizures and their bodies go out of control, and they take the oil, CBD oil or whatever, and they are miraculously cured. So I see there are good things that can come from it, but I'll tell you what's a hell of a damn drug: alcohol. That's, man, that's a tough one. And that's been legal forever, other than when we had our little mishap that took place in the 30s and I think it was the early or late 30s, early 40s, if I'm not mistaken. But they were, Alcoholics Anonymous came out of this type of area originally. And I read a few history books on that in the past and my issues with alcohol. So, is the wolf theory your own? No, it's not my own. And I don't know where it came from. the wolf theory, I've heard that from multiple people. But I kind of use that. Whatever works, I use. Because, I mean, if you can relate to it and it helps you kind of understand what I'm saying, that's what I try to do. I try to use those types of analogies, if that makes any sense. So, dude, I do that with everything. Like, I don't just read one type of religious book. I read everything I can get my hands on. I try to study it and learn about different things, and they all bring different wisdom. You know, everything from Buddhist text. You know, they have one saying in Buddhism that says, "One who wants to know, if one wants to seek the truth, one must hold no opinions." It's kind of like saying this, to take it in our context. If you really want to know the truth of something, you don't want to start with already saying you know. So you've got to act like, maybe I don't understand, maybe I don't know. And in the recovery program, a lot of people come in with the assumptions that they know what to do. They know how to get clean. And that's why a lot of them go, look, when you come in for the first 90 days, just listen, because you'll hear how people have made it successfully. And if you're not open to listening, then, you know, you're just going to keep practicing the same things, and you're going to end up. Now, my day 7 video, I was talking, and I get a lot of people who go, hey, why don't you shut up and listen? And I was going to meetings and I was listening, even though I had been clean 2 years in the past off of opiates. I was going to meetings and I was listening, but talking helped me early on when I was feeling like I was crazy and I just didn't know what to do with my time. I found people to talk to, whether it was about religious stuff, spiritual stuff, get on YouTube, watch videos that were crazy. I mean, dude, I watched Ancient Aliens just for the hell of it, because I was like, whoa, that's crazy. Even though I didn't necessarily believe it, I was like, okay, this is something to entertain my mind in the time being. So I recommend anything that entertains the mind. Communicate with people. What's one of the aspects of addiction did you struggle with the most? That's a tough one. Randy, if you could rephrase that a little bit, so I can maybe go into more detail. I feel like you got something that might be good there. XC, tomorrow is day 8 for me, Derek. I feel real maniac, yet no energy. Look, there's my pops from Canada. Hold on. Hello? Hello? He hung up. Maybe it didn't. I don't know. Anyway, tomorrow's day 8 for me, Derek. I real maniac, yet no energy to do anything. Any tips? Cheers. I do coffee. When I was getting off, I drank coffee, and I just had to. You don't want to do it. You don't feel like doing it. So I pushed myself. In fact, when I went to detox years ago, and I was going in, they make you get up and they make you eat breakfast. And when you don't eat, if you refuse, they document it. Like, they're doing everything by the book, but they tell you, hey, look, you need to, stay active. So that's one of those things that you have to push yourself and keep pushing and pushing and pushing until you are actively doing it on your own. It's like training wheels, At first you have to have training wheels, and then eventually you don't need them. Will Jones, if you're worried, then it's good you've noticed there's a problem. Yes. Weed is legal in Vegas. Yes, it is. What's good, Derek? Good to see you, man. What's up, Marcus? Yeah, man. I just I read your message earlier, brother. I saw that message. And you can reach out to me on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, bro. Just write me a message and then add me. And make sure when you write me the message, as you're adding me as a friend on Facebook, you specify how you know me. I've got a lot of fake accounts that always try to add me, and I'm like trying to go through those. So make sure you guys let me know what's what. Also, hey, subscribe to this and share this stuff. It always helps someone. Who knows? They might can relate. If you had to have a surgery during recovery, what's your thoughts with pain meds? I'm on 5 days clean from H, but need surgery on my neck next month. Jay Jones, good question. That's tough, because I've actually thought about that. That's kind of a fear of mine. What would happen if I had to get surgery and the pain was so bad that they had to put opiates in me to try and take away the pain? That's a scary thought for me. And My pops from Canada, this is why you want to stay locked in and surrender, okay? Because it scares me if something like that happens. I would absolutely ask, I would tell the doctors first off, everyone would have to know that I am a drug addict and that I cannot put this shit in me or I will end up relapsing unless there's some way I am in this facility until the cloud clears and that there's somehow that they can work with me in that way. If it's severe pain and it requires opiates somehow, then that is the only way I can suggest that. That's a tough question though. That's a scary question. Is that how you got through cravings? By talking and being distracted? It's hard for me. Yeah, Ronnie, that helps. Talking. Look, day 5 video, I was laying on the couch, smoking cigarettes, putting it out on banana pills. Dude, I was not smoking because I was like, yeah, this feels good. I really feel like smoking like you would if you were high. I was smoking cigarettes, literally just trying to waste time. And I was lost in my mind going crazy. And while I was laying there smoking the cigarettes, I was talking to myself kind of in that camera. And I kept the recording in case. Sure enough, here's my day 5 video. You can check that out on YouTube. Talking helps. I have to go keep it. Thank you, Meredith. I understand the struggle with having siblings that use. My sister and I used together for years. Now I'm doing my best to get clean, and she still struggles with a lot. I'm having trouble figuring out where to draw the line, so to speak. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff with family that can cause easy relapse if your mind isn't right. Like I said, first up, people, places, things. If you can help getting out of those situations for the time being, get the mind right, rewire the brain and actions by doing the steps. I mentioned this yesterday. That's the reason there are 12 steps. Same reason our children go through 12 classes of grades, all right, in school. The 12th grade, and then you graduate. Well, in the recovery program, people say, oh, well, you graduate. No, you practice the things you were taught in these 12 grades. The same thing applies, man. Admit that you have a problem. And then from there, you're going to want some source of power that's greater than yourselves, even if that's a conscious state, some form of a higher conscious state. A lot of people go in there and they call the group of drunks God, group of drunks, God. So that the group becomes their God temporarily if you're not a spiritual person. And eventually you can start to make or understand something that works for you. Figuring out where to draw the line, so to speak. Okay, we're just reactivating my Facebook last night because I genuinely thought I might OD during the night and wanted to pick some for my family. Yeah, I understand, Marcus. That's tough, bro. You know, Kurt's OD'd twice, and they found him in a car. Thank God they found him before he would have stopped, and that was fentanyl. And believe it or not, he wasn't shooting it. He snorted fentanyl, and he out. Thank God that the Arab guy at the gas station saw he wasn't right, called the cops. They came and he was in the hospital. I picked him up hours later when I found out about it, and I went and picked him up, and he didn't know how it happened. It was scary. Thanks, Derek. When do you suggest I go to a meeting? Should I wait a bit or go now and throw myself into it? How many days, XC? How many days you were there? Okay, XC Trail. Vitamin B helps a lot with energy during withdrawal and after, especially. I didn't take vitamin B, but dude, if I'd have had all these suggestions and done this before, it might have been a better, smoother process for me. I drank coffee and I talked to people. I read, I watched videos. I tried to be active. I went to meetings. These are all things I did. I got really into the first 147 pages of the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, just trying to, dude, I was trying to survive this thing. This thing is a freaking animal. Oh, I'll add you today. Thank you, Marcus. Sometimes we're each other's best friend, but we can subconsciously and consciously manipulate one another, and it makes it hard to stay consistent. That's true, Randy. Is there any significance to the banana? I always heard that in your video and wondered. The banana you were putting cigarettes out on in your story. Was it a bad blue your bro took or something, or did he know it was I don't know if he knew. I think Kurt knew that it was fentanyl because it's the guy was selling it at a higher price, and he knew, but he tried to do just very little, he said, and it OD. It was so little, and he OD'd, and he was used to using IV. So that was interesting. And with the banana, I mean, look, I ate a banana and the pill was right next to the couch because I had no energy to get up off the couch. I laid there and was puffing that banana and just, dude, I put 4 or 5 cigarettes total that morning because it was like 3 or 4 in the morning. I could not sleep. Just kept putting them out on there over and over. Veronica, good morning. Good morning. Good to see you. Probably age 10. It was fat. It probably was. And that shit is going around right now, big time. It's day 7 currently of nasty age cold turkey. Struggled with dehydration, only feeling a bit better today. Dude, if you've gone 7 days off this shit, you are so in the good. Keep going. I know your legs are going to suck. I know your back's going to suck. You might get the little critters. You might get this. Well, I know you're going to get the sweats, the hot, the cold. But it's nothing like it was day 3, day 4. It will eventually get better, and then it'll be gone. You won't have to deal with this anymore. Now, once that happens, like I said, learn how to feed the good wolf in the head. And that good wolf will always kick the bad wolf's ass if you just keep feeding the good wolf by getting the right tools. And that's by going and getting involved in some type of program that's helping you learn how to live life on life's terms. Dude, I snap from anger at work all the time, and that stress on us as drug addicts is different than a normal sober person. Normal people handle stress. Some of them like it, and they don't have to use. Some of them feed off of just arguing and constant drama. With me, I start getting in a bad place in my head, and I get so much weight on me that I want to either take a nap or I need to do something to escape, it feels like. And so that escape route is no longer using for me. It's something else, like a nap or something other than. I have to go just now. I'm struggling to find you on Facebook and Instagram, mate. I'll keep trying. Dinner time. Good night and enjoy your dinner, Paul. Thank you. Laugh out loud. Okay, fair enough with me. Banana. Look, I don't know why I had a banana, man. I just was eating a banana and I put it out. I just didn't want to get up and find something to put my cigarette in. So I saw the banana and it was just, I had no energy. When did you start sleeping normal again, Ronnie? I started sleeping normal, like actually sleeping normal, day 14 or 15. That's when I personally did. I hear people who said they didn't start till 21 days. I can't speak for that. I could tell you, though, that I was able to sleep around day 7, where I was getting a couple hours a night. It was like 1 or 2, maybe at most 2.5, 3 hours a night. And then I'd wake up and I'd be like, oh, my mind won't go to sleep. So then I'd go back another day, coffee, meetings, talking, getting involved in things in my head, staying away from people, places, and things until I made it to the next night. And I'd toss and turn my leg back, get in the bathtub, drink some water, take an ibuprofen, go to more meetings, talk, watch a show. I got into the show called The 100. I got into Breaking Bad. I mean, look, I got into a lot of different shows that I was sitting there just sucking and I was watching, and that's just the way it was for me. Restless legs at nighttime are one of the worst. Yes. Oh, and you're just doing this right here. You're rocking. Kurt did a video on my channel, and he was doing this right here, rocking, because your nerves are just jacked up. What's up, Jeremy? What's going on, bro? I didn't think I'd see you out here, man. How's Kurt doing? He's in jail right now. I need to come back and kick his ass. Hey, you'd have a tough time with Kurt. You know he's got hands, bro. Yeah, Kurt he's in jail, man. That's right. He's in jail right now. When he gets out, though, we've got visions, man. I'm hoping he locks on and says, "Let me jump on this thing," because he's got all the family and the friends there to support him. So let's hope he does that, man. Let's hope he does that. I heard that dealers put fentanyl to H. Is that an issue in the USA? Is it terrible use? Yes, it is a terrible thing. They're using fentanyl. In fact, I've heard and watched a documentary on, I think it was, y'all could probably know better than I, on Netflix, where the drug dealer, they've got his face where it's blacked out. You can't see him. His voice changed. And he said something like the fentanyl is actually causing more ODs for the addicts. And the more ODs that you cause, more addicts want to go to you because you have the stronger stuff. That's sick, man. That tells you how bad this thing is. The stronger your stuff is, and if it kills people, they want to come to you because they know it's the stronger stuff. Whew, that's real tough. All right, for chills and warm, hot flashes, fever, ibuprofen. Yes, read what Marcus wrote here. And for pain, it helps better than an opiate if you have a tolerance whatsoever. I'll make note, actually. I've been told that, but never tried. Hey, man, supporting the fam. Yes, Jeremy. Thank you, Derek. Your videos are extremely helpful. The addiction scene here in Saudi Arabia, shout out to Saudi, is still way behind. I rely greatly on your content. What's your advice on how to deal with not having rehab or meetings? Tough. If you don't have a way, I didn't go. I could have, but I didn't go. Okay. Like I didn't want to go to a detox center. I didn't. I don't recommend this. But if you don't have somewhere to go and all you have is you, I would get people that know you that may have had experience that are clean if you can. If you can't, man, you need to get locked into find programs on here. You need to try and figure out the best way of getting away from anything, people, places, and things that have these things. And I guarantee you can research and find proper tools on how to stay clean. Let me give you an example of what I'm saying. They, back in the 30s, for example, using alcohol, okay, they used to think throw away the key. An alcoholic was a delusional person, and there's no cure, there's no helping them. They need to just be put locked up and throw away the key. Now, when I say alcoholic, I'm talking about the description of the worst kind of alcoholic you can imagine, one that is going to drink himself to absolute death, okay? And there were people who read this literature that was done, the Alcoholics Anonymous book, who started their own meetings and started their own stuff. All it is the principles in that book that were used in their lives. And they started stuff without meeting any of the other guys. They started their own thing. And they were able to stay sober. Same thing applies with drugs. Same thing applies with all this stuff. You can be that person to start where you're at as long as you have the proper tools. Scandinavia. Let's see. Did you fall out on that? I passed out from small amount. How come you got rid of the first vid or hurt withdrawn? It was a good one. You talking to me, Ronnie? When Kurt gets out of jail, it will be a start for him to go from detox to recovery. I hope it works out. I do too. The show is drugs. Drugs on National Geographic. Yes, indeed. I fell asleep driving more than 2-3 times during my 10-minute drive. My girlfriend had to take the wheel. That happens. A lot of people nod out while driving. I know people who've been in accidents and they don't mean to. You know how it is. You can't control it. My wife told me, this is coming from her perception. My wife told me she'd turn, and if she saw me sleep like this, because I'd be like out of it on the bed, she would turn and look at me, and she'd go, Derek. She'd bump me because she always told me that she just wondered if my breathing was going to stop, and she would nudge me. She was worried that I would, pretty much not wake up, and she used to cry every night. She used to cry a lot. I won't say every night, but she used to cry a lot. And she'd tell me that she thought that it had consumed me and there's no way to get me back. So it scared me, scared her, just hearing that. I didn't know if I'd ever make it off heroin. I didn't know if it was possible. I was scared. I didn't know. And I was like, I'm already done, aren't I? Well, I made it. And I'm here to tell you it can be done. It's the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life, but it's the best thing I've ever done in my life. So it's like a woman giving birth. Talk about the pain. I can't relate to that. Okay. That kind of pain, but a woman will tell you the pain, but the glory of having a child and the beauty that comes with that. If there's a lot that can come out of that. You can look at that as a bad thing, as nothing but a pain in the butt, or you can look at it in a positive light and say, you know what, this is a blessing. So it can be the best thing, even though it was painful, probably the most painful thing a woman goes through. What are your thoughts on Russell Brand's recovery book? What are your thoughts on the 12 steps? Lama, that's a good question. Russell Brand, he's got some interesting stuff. I know he's been through this. I have not read his book. I'd be interested, but I have not read it. And on the 12 steps, it works if you work it. Cliche, right? It works if you work it. It's true. But that goes for even they tell you in the book, and a lot of people are like religious about Alcoholics Anonymous or Narcotics Anonymous. I'm not. Okay. There are other methods that do work. Some people go straight to religion. Okay. And that's their way out. For me, it didn't work. Religion didn't work for me. I'm more of a spiritual guy. But anyway, it works if you work it. Well, that's because there's principles in those steps that are eternal, if you will. Those principles apply in every religion in the world. They are something that has gone back into antiquity before we can recount. And it's just natural human nature of doing right or wrong. And so we've seen it works. And so if you practice the very things that they're telling you, then that is where you'll have the tools to feed the good wolf. That's where it all comes from. So good question, though. I agree with the 12 steps. I totally recommend it, but I also recommend whatever works for you. As long as it gets you out of this hole that you've been in, and you're out of that hole, and your life is better than what it was, and it can only get better from there. That is the goal. Just keep trying to better yourself. That's my recommendation. Okay. Ronnie says, of Kurt Not Hurt from January 2017, his video withdrawn. And you asked me above, you said, how come you got rid of the first video of Kurt? I don't recall getting rid of, maybe I did. I don't know. I can't remember why, man. That's a good question. I can't remember why I might have gotten rid of that video. What do you think was the worst aspect of quitting? The withdrawals, mental, physical? Whew. Man, that's a good question. I personally think the worst, it's tough to say because it's the mental and the physical go hand in hand in the withdrawals. So what's worse, the mental or the physical? Well, the physical sucks, but it's not just the physical. Your mind, in your mind, you are in hell. You're so depressed. You're just, it's unbelievable. And then it feels like it's going to happen forever. In your head, you're thinking, oh, this is never going to end, but it does. If you keep at it, it really will go away. Take it from me, if you're in this situation, or from yourself, if you've experienced getting clean before, just remember, if you're stuck right now, you can get off. It will get better. Even if it sucks, it's only for the moment. And I promise it will if you stick with it. All right, I got a friend who works on oil. Okay, Jay, myself, withdraw mentally. Let's see, I got a friend who works on an oil rig offshore in Norway as a Stallningsberger. I can't even pronounce that. Don't know the name. All right, and he's home 2 weeks and works 2 weeks, smokes H 140 days straight, and then back. Woo! That's a tough spot, man. Yeah, I can't do all that. Hey, Derek. I just want to say thank you for making your videos. They really inspire me and helped me out a lot. You are incredibly strong. Sam, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I hear a lot of people tell me that. My pops in Canada tells me, Derek, chill out. Not everybody does what you do or has that drive that you have. And it might be true, but I try to tell them too from experience. I'm like, I'm going to give you guys another analogy if you're okay with that, please. I don't want to bore you. This is something I heard on a motivational thing. This guy wanted to be successful. You might have heard this, so I'm just taking this from somewhere else. This guy wanted to be successful, so he calls a guru. And the guru tells him, you want to be successful? Okay, meet me at the beach at 4 a.m. All right, so this isn't verbatim what the actual analogy is, but he meets him at the beach at 4 a.m. even though he didn't want to. He's like, what the heck's he got me here at 4 a.m. for? And he says, well, you want to be successful, you're going to be here. Shows up. The guru says, all right, now let's walk out into the ocean. Let's walk out there up to our waist. What? It's 4 a.m. It's freezing cold. Why would I walk out there? Do you want to be successful? He said. Yeah. All right. Follow me. He walks into there up to his waist. And the man's like, dude, what are we doing out here, man? What the heck are you doing? And the guy goes, now let's go out to our neck. Are you nuts? What's wrong with you, man? Dude, what does this have anything to do with anything? Follow me out here. You want to be successful or not? And he says, yeah, I want to be successful. So he walks out up to his neck and he's looking at this guy like, what did I get myself into? Why am I following? This sucks. It's painful. It doesn't seem like it's going anywhere. And he says, now hold your breath and I want you to go underwater and hold your breath as long as you can. What the hell is wrong with you, man? Are you kidding me? Do you want to be successful or not? He says, yeah, I want to be successful. All right. And he goes underwater. And after I'd say about a minute, he started wanting more air. he goes to come up, and the guru holds his head underwater, and he's fighting, trying to get up, and he can't get up. And the man's holding him, and he's about to pass out because he has no air. This guy's ready. He's about to die. He thinks this guy's trying to murder him. Finally, before he knew it, when he was about to blink, he pulls him up out of the water. And the man's, what was that, man? What the hell are you doing? The guru looked at him and said, if you want to be successful, you have to want it as bad as you just wanted to breathe. Do you understand me? That's how bad you have to want this thing. And I apply that principle to getting clean. You're going to not want to get clean because the bad wolf, but the good wolf, you have to want it more. You have to want to breathe no matter what. And I wanted to breathe. I wanted to breathe, I'm telling you. And so I had to do whatever I had to do. That's why they say in the meetings, cliche, willing to go to any lengths necessary to achieve sobriety or recovery or whatever it is you're trying to achieve. You have to be willing to go to any lengths, even when it sucks. And damn it, did I not do that? I did it. And when I made it, I knew it could happen. It's tough. It's hard. You're underwater. You feel like you're drowning. You can't breathe. There's no air. Everything seems like it's falling, but it's only for a moment. When you come up, breathing is so much better. All right. I just want to give you all that analogy. I love analogies. That is true, Marcus. Everyone has a different chemistry. Hey, Derek, if you'd be hospitalized, would you refuse opiate painkillers? That's a good question, Henrik. I don't think I mean, obviously, if I am in the most excruciating pain, let's say an amputation or something occurred, would I take opiates, being I'm a heroin addict? That's a hard question to ask. I feel like I probably want to feel like I'm not dying, At the same time, everyone in there, including the hospital, has to understand my condition so that they can give me the proper treatment necessary. So if I came out, I was successful and not back out on the streets doing the things I once did. I had a tooth extracted years ago. I had a tooth extracted for Percocet that they pulled. They gave me a couple 5 milligram Percocets. That was it. I was so immediately pleasing to the mind that I pretended like I had dry socket, went in there to try and get more Percocets. They gave me Tylenol 3. It pissed me off, so then I started looking for it on the streets. That's just a fact. I couldn't help my obsession. You're intelligent and go into detail. Thanks. Thank you, William. I appreciate that. And a lot of people in here are on the same level. And I really appreciate everyone's encouraging words. How do you deal with the guilt and the hate of who you were? That's a great question, Lama. I actually learned to forgive myself in the process of feeding the good wolf because I realized I wasn't a bad person. I was a sick person. A lot of it is get the chemicals out, let the mind think clearly again, and then you should start seeing immediate changes occur. Veronica. You rock. Dude, you're fucking awesome. Excuse the language, but that analogy is a good one. Thank you. Steal these analogies. If they work for you, please. They're going to work for someone else. Day one off strong opiates and I'm on a max dose boop instead, withdrawals, but without physical symptoms, only mental. That's where boredom kicks in people's ass, find shit to do. Absolutely. For some reason, I have the feeling like you were the guy that would do whatever needed to be done to get your bag for the day back when you were using. Dude, great point, Addicted. Addiction is such a horrible thing. I stole from everyone. Just as bad as I wanted to breathe to get clean is as bad as I wanted to breathe to use. I was so obsessive that I was stealing. I was just doing so many things to get my habit and keep it going. I mean, look, I've got a felony charge for things that I've done, and I was drinking. I wasn't even doing opiates at that time. I got a felony charge. I had DSS on my ass. I was on probation, so I had to take your analysis and shit, but I found ways around it. All of those things were there, and yet I was still trying to pursue the drugs. I pretty much ran into what looked like a brick wall in my life, or what they call rock bottom. And I hit this spot. I could have kept going, but it was rock bottom enough for me that if I gave it a couple days, when I got off the chemicals, I realized, oh shit, I need to pursue in the direction of light, in the direction of life, in the direction of love, the 3 L's. And so I just did what I had to do to breathe and not drown anymore. Thank you, Sam. Appreciate that. I had to just lock myself up and watch films as days after day 1 and 2. It gets worse personally. Literally, I couldn't do anything for 4 days but be sick and lose fluid. If you're feeling sick like that, they recommend go to meetings. And I totally recommend that. But I know that physically, if you're not capable at the moment to get up and go, then obviously you don't get up and go. I think I was at day 5 or day 6 when I went to meetings. So if you can go earlier than that, please do. I totally recommend it. What's keeping me clean so far is remembering how bad the withdrawal was. Hope this memory never fades. Well, that's a great point. I thought I was going to die. I really, really believed I was going to die. And I do to this day. If I go back out there, I don't know how I'm going to survive because I'm so obsessive. That being said, the fear of death for a while for me worked. It worked until I had the proper tools to feed the good wolf. And like I said, I keep using that analogy. It's true. And now I don't even know where that bad wolf is, but I know he's hiding somewhere on a shelf far away. And if I want to go find him, I can, but I don't want to. I built walls in my own life where I don't know how to go outside of those walls without really trying to. And I don't have to try. I'm good. All right. Let's see. Derek, I'm saying hello from Qatar. Ooh, you are so articulate and would make a good counselor and motivational speaker. I really do. Thank you, Chris. You are so generous, sharing your time and experience. Keep this up. You're amazing. Thank you so much, man. That means a lot to me. This helps me too, y'all. It really helps me because I feel like I'm giving away what was been given to me. And it's like that never-ending cycle of energy. I give it to you, you give it to them, and eventually one day it comes back to me. And in the right time, if that timing is not so right, is it? I mean, it's really interesting how this world works. Seems like coincidence after coincidence. Hey, D, what's up? Feel good? All right, Marcus, same with me. Yeah, y'all. I mean, look, this is awesome. I can't believe that the live stream was this successful. There's so many people who can share such experience, strength, and hope. What do you do to make sure your kids don't use? Scares the crap out of me. Right now, Llama, I worry about right now. And what I do is I stay clean. To concern myself whether my kids stay clean or not, I can't at the moment. I can show them, I can give them all the tools necessary, but they don't have to see a father that puts them through the abuse anymore. And I'm reminded of that by loved ones who personally shared these things to me and tell me, just like you guys, man, you're such a, you're helping out, you're this and that. Well, my wife reminds me of the man I am today and how much she cherishes the man that she has today. Just like I actually cherish myself today. And, I'm just centering around me, but I cherish them so much more these days than I ever would have using because I had one focus, me, and getting high and doing this and taking money from them. And I'd sell things. I'd be like, all right, how much is this bedpost here? All right, I can get rid of this bedpost. I know I can probably go down to the flea market, get $80 for that. Let's get rid of this antique bedpost. Like that's the crap I'd do. I'd find shit in the house. And then I remember when I got kicked out, a little story about how bad this was at the end. Wife kicked me out. And of course I left because I didn't want to deal with it anymore anyway, because I just didn't know how to stop. And I broke into my own house. I kicked my front door in. I went into my kid's bedroom that I bought them a flat screen TV for the last Christmas, stole the this is how crazy this is. Stole the flat screen TV that I bought my children from the year before, went and pawned it at the pawn shop, got the ticket, was finding landscaping work just so I can get high, by the way. I went and got my bag. Then I went and did a job to get enough cash to go pull it out of the pawn shop and brought it back home that afternoon and put it back where it was. The only thing I had to explain was why was the front door kicked in. That's the shit I was doing. It was nuts. I was doing crazy shit, and I couldn't help but just, what can I do to get my high? What can I do? Tonic, Kurt is fine. Kurt is in jail. Kurt is in a safe place. He's not out here using. He's not shooting up. He's not doing cocaine. He's not doing crack. He's not doing Suboxone. He's not drinking. He's not smoking pot. He is clean, and that is a good thing. At the same time, I hope when he gets out, he latches on and keeps this thing. Isn't it amazing what you'll literally do when you need that bag and are going to get sick? If only that power could have been harnessed for good, because the determination for some of the missions, that is so what I'm trying to do today. and I'm limited on this because I have a full-time job and I have to keep the lights on. I have to keep the roof over the head. So I supervise and travel. I travel for work every week. I pretty much live out of a hotel room. Everywhere I go, I'm always on the go. And so I'm going to bring my computer. I got a microphone. Y'all helped me get this. Those who have helped donate and help me out, they're the ones who've helped me get this mic so that I can actually start doing this more and reaching out and having more live chats, which was really cool. I'm going to start doing this more. What would you do if you're trying to get clean but have a job? Oof. Is it worth losing the job to get clean? Hands down, it's worth it. I know that sucks saying that, Chuck. I mean, hands down, it's worth losing your job if you have to lose your job for that. Honestly, this is just me. A lot of places, when you come to them and ask for help and tell them your situation and that you need help, they might give you a leave of absence and allow you the time to try and get your life together. I only say that because of the experiences of places I know here. Kurt worked for me. He used to work for me. Okay, this is a little personal, but I had to get rid of my own brother. I tried to help him. I had to get rid of Kurt because of the addiction and the abuse and what was going on, because I was dealing with a lot of things that I had to think about for my own family and kids. And I was trying to help Kurt, but Kurt was stuck. So I had to get rid of him working under me. And they gave him the opportunity to go to rehab one time, and he went. This thing's a beast, dude. He went to rehab. He came out. He was working again, relapse. And while he was working for me, he relapsed. So it's tough. I mean, this is not a joke. Hi from Malta, Europe. The missions we've all undoubtedly gone through. Some of those missions, you wonder how they were successful back in the day. Hi from Malta, Europe. What's up, Carl? It works like that. They say you can't sleep when you have unless you give it away. Quitting heroin takes one thing before all the honest wish and want to stop using. Absolutely. Oh my God, this is so familiar. Tonic. Yeah, if you can relate to this, that's my goal. I want you guys to be able to relate to this and say, hey, I can relate to that, or I can't relate to that. I wasn't doing those things. That's fine. I just want you to try to look where you can relate, and it can help you out. Because that's how I go to meetings. When I went to meetings all the time, there were guys I was like, damn, I only related to one thing he said. But if there's not that one thing that I needed to hear, and that's it. People do crazy stuff when dope's sick. Thank you, Llama. Please keep going. You're helping a lot of people. Thank you. Yo, man, when I'm clean, I'll help you out. That's right. You will. Hey, look, you guys helped me out and reminded me, even when you're still using, don't feel shame. Don't feel guilt. This is a real serious thing. My father from Canada says this is a disease. Okay. And this is in the medical handbook as a disease. This is something that we just barely are starting to understand more and more. Prayers for your brother. Thank you. Hello, brother. Nice to see you again. You too. Nice to see you. I think I'm pronouncing it right. Lugat. All right, Sam, not to drift off topic, but when do you work as, if you don't mind me? Where do I work, or what do you work as? I'm a supervisor, but I started off as a grunt. Thank you, Carl. I started off as a grunt. I went out there. I did physical manual labor. And that same analogy I gave you guys about the breathing and how I wanted to be successful, I applied that in everything I do in this world. I apply that same principle of wanting to be successful with the guru. So then I go to work and I busted my ass. I worked hard. I learned everything. I asked questions. I said, how do you do that? So when you pull that tape measure, look, when I started here, I didn't know how to read a tape measure fully. Like I knew quarters, halves, 3/4. I know how to read a tape measure backwards, upside down in 30 seconds. I can, there's a lot of stuff I've learned along the way. I applied those principles the same way I did getting clean in my life daily. Now I'm successful. I'm a supervisor, but I'm trying to keep climbing, trying to get to where I'm running my own business and do better. So almost, I tried to pronounce it, man. I tried. There's a story I wrote down before I started here. I just looked a couple notes here. There's a story you might find interesting. When I was on Suboxone and I was fighting this thing, I was constantly, when I didn't have the heroin, I would take the Suboxone. I would, fight this beast. I was over at Kurt's house one morning, and I wasn't at my house because the wife didn't want me there because I was just that crazy off the deep end. I ended up taking a piece of Suboxone that morning. So if you know anything about that, it blocks the receptors from receiving the opiates. Not saying you can't feel something, but it's a waste when you're buying, boy, and trying to put it in you after you've done Suboxone. Either way, I was so obsessed with wanting to have more in me. We didn't have any money. I was begging the dope dealer to please front me. I borrowed Kurt's car, went over there to go get it. He let me borrow $20 worth. Kurt comes with me. We're sitting in the back seat, and I remember I was trying to get it worked up, and it spilt. It spilt on my pants, and I'm down here going, just trying to get any of it up. And I looked at the spoon. I saw my reflection, and I saw my reflection. I was crying because I was so upset after everything. I looked over at my brother, and Kurt was right there, and I was just crying. I said, "How the hell did we get here, man? How did we get this far?" And Kurt was crying with me, and he looked over at me, and he, we both were just in tears, and we looked at each other, and we didn't know how the hell we went from athletic sports playing, real charismatic jock type kids in high school, and boom, we're down here looking at a reflection in a spoon, begging people to give us $10 worth, stealing to try and get more. We just didn't know how we got there. And that's when I felt little parts in me start coming closer to a conclusion of needing to absolutely be done with this thing. And I told him, I said, this has got to end, man. So when I put whatever it was in me, I didn't even feel it anyway because of the Suboxone. All of that. And it was like, didn't do anything. It was a waste. All right. Keep it up, buddy. Thank you. Almost. Haha. Sky's the limit. Absolutely. I do manual labor, and I think it really helps keep me focused working on building sites and stuff. True that, Sam. That's what it did for me, man. It does that for me. What do you do when you don't want to tell your family you relapsed and they all currently think you've been clean this whole time, but you know you need help, can't face them, so you continue going at it alone? That's the thing. I know that feeling, so I'm gonna tug deep when I say this, and it's just gonna be bold. It's gonna be the truth. Just telling you straight up what I would recommend. Tell them, damn, that hurt. I know that hurt. I know that you don't want to, but I'm gonna tell you the truth. Come to them. If you hide and you keep secrets, I promise you're gonna keep keeping secrets. You're gonna keep wanting to hide this thing. Honesty. Come out with honesty. And if anyone's going to want to help you, it is family. You might not feel at the moment because they might feel rejected or hurt, or they might be upset about the situation. But I'm telling you, it worked. It worked for me. It's worked before because this ain't my first rodeo. I'm not no professional. I mean, I'm not like, oh, Derek got clean the first time he ever tried this thing. He just got off heroin and he was good. Great guy, man. That's awesome. He's a miracle. Dude, I've been fighting this fucking thing for 9-10 years. And I've been on and off from started out years ago with Percocets and just popping them. And I was doing 10, 15, 10 milligram perks a day. It was ridiculous. I was killing my liver. Then I was finding out about other stronger opiate. And it finally ended up years later down the road where I was on heroin. And so, yeah. I've seen GG before. All right. Removing that. That's the first time in 2 days that anyone has come on and said something ridiculous, like heroin is life. I know that now they said it yesterday. So yeah. Anyway, guys, this thing is serious. It's gonna kill people. And it's been doing it. So all we can do is try and show love to those people and try our best to be patient with them. Yeah, good to see you, KK. I went to inpatient 28 days for age. I can't stress enough how important aftercare is. It keeps me accountable. Urine test. Yeah, you need those walls. And my job's like consumes all my time and energy. That's why I would be doing this more. But it consumes everything I have. And it does keep me structured, though. I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning every morning. And I work by a routine, and those routines are good. They suck, but they're good. And when you start living by that routine, when you do things that are beyond that routine, it doesn't feel normal or natural, which to me is a good thing. You need structure. So that's a good point, Brian. And the urinalysis test, that ought to tell you, let me try not to, get caught. So I think I'll try and stay clean. All right, heroin takes lives. That's true, Addicted. It does. Jay Jones, Derek, have you thought about writing a book at some point? There needs to be a lot more information and suggestions for not just the user, but the family of. And YouTube is great, but there's a lot of, I don't know what you were trying to go at with Jay Jones. Maybe it stopped right there, but who knows? A day might come, I might write a book. Right at this moment, I don't even have time going into writing a book, but I can create videos at this point. Very encouraging to listen to you. Thank you. Appreciate that, Mahogany. Subbed. Thank you, KK. Absolutely. Subscribe. Share this with people, please. It helps me out. Look, YouTube gives me gas money on my monetization. So I monetize videos, and they just, for simply having this ad, which y'all can just skip the ad, it gives me, a penny or something, or not even. But if the more, the better. Very sad to hear about Ryan at Free from Hell. Do we know if he relapsed or what? No, he died because of a blood clot. He had a disease, and a blood clot caused him to die. I thought the same thing at first. I said, man, Ryan Donnelly, how did he die? How did he die? That's when you're a drug addict, you know what I'm talking about. It's easy to think someone died of a relapse. Like if I died tomorrow, y'all might think, okay, Derek probably relapsed because I died. But I probably have medical conditions that I don't even know about that I need to go check with the doctor. I just don't have time to go to the doctors that much from working. But there's probably stuff that's wrong, with me, that if I died tomorrow, you'd say, oh, Derek probably relapsed. Well, I'm not saying that couldn't happen, but I think Ryan actually, had that medical condition, and it took place. He had surgery a couple months back. I know you're playing, GG. Because look, a lot of people come on here and they're just, they're just trying to be funny and stuff. But man, this is serious. These opiates are killing people. You know what I mean? These are killing people. So I don't know. I'm trying to help people, and I know you're just being funny. Look, I'm funny too. I have my funny moments as well, and there's time for that. Y'all hear me joke on here, but that sarcasm of heroin is life is too low, man. Talk about something else funny. Let's see. Look what God has done for you. You are blessed and needed. Good for you. Thank you, Jaron. I think I'm pronouncing these names right. I'm trying. So sad when I hear about Ryan. You helped me a lot with that. So glad I came across your vids. Thanks, Mahogany. And I'm glad I bumped into Ryan's stuff. So like if I run out of an idea, all I have to do is click on Ryan's video and boom, I'm right back there. And I know what he's talking about. I relate to him a lot. He was awesome. He really was an awesome guy. How long have you been addicted? Addicted to heroin. I was on heroin for about a year, a little over a year. I was hooked on Opanas for about 4 years. And before that, it was Oxycontin and Percocet. And I was bouncing on and off of Oxycontin and Percocet. And later on is when it started getting to oxymorphone or Opanas. And then it came to heroin. So it literally has been about 8 to 10 years of my life consumed with doing opiates. And then, of course, alcohol played its scene later on, and that was something real ugly, too. How long? Okay, do you have a sponsor? So you think they play a crucial role in recovery? Do you still use the sponsor today? Good question. I don't call him my sponsor, but I have a support group. I have a Pops from Canada, and he has a lot of years in recovery. I had a sponsor in AA years ago, but I didn't relate that well with that sponsor. And so I ended up, going to other people, getting advice from them. And for a long time, I didn't have a sponsor while I was out on the road, but I stayed true to the principles I learned in the 12 steps that I went through. This is why they recommend you do those. And as I got those embedded in my thinking and I fed the good wolf, as I've mentioned many times in this video, that good wolf overcame the bad wolf. And long story short, I was able to survive even though I didn't have a sponsor. But now I realized there was a lot that I needed to work on, and I needed someone to point those out with me. So my Pops from Canada helps me out with that recovery process. Ryan was a real OG. True that, feel good. Really, really was. I could talk about him, man. That guy was definitely a diehard recovery man. He helped so many people. And I want to help people like that. That's like a vision of mine, to be able to help people like he did. He really was a big, big deal on this internet too. I was previously addicted to tramadol and then alcohol. It's no joke. That's tramadol is serious. I know somebody, I'm gonna leave them nameless, of course, that was hooked on tramadol for years, and they still do it, and they have seizures. I mean, we're talking tramadol has caused them to probably have about 20 something seizures over the years. I don't know why they keep going back to it, but they've busted a tooth out, fallen on the ground from a seizure. I mean, they just kept going back to it over and over, man. It sucks. Derek, what you have done and are doing is so completely unselfish. Appreciated. You are a great man. Thank you for doing this, buddy. Thank you, Bobby. I really appreciate that. That means a lot. And I'm trying to help anyone out there that might need to hear this. If you're just now tuning in, of course, subscribe, share this video, but check out earlier in my video, I give some analogies and you might be able to relate to it if you're out there right now struggling. I hope this saves someone's lives. I've heard a lot of success stories just from the YouTube channel I've created. I mean, a lot. People in the world, people in Egypt, people in all throughout Europe, people in Africa, people in Canada, people in Mexico that don't even speak English had their wife who understands a little English reach out to me on behalf of them just to communicate this. This thing is touched the planet. And I want to help the planet. I want to help us as a race, as people, as humans, try to get off this beast. Help out as any way I possibly can. That's the goal. From Ireland, and there's a big depressant problem here. Some people think alcohol abuse isn't a problem, but heroin users are wasters. I think both are terrible things, but the people aren't bad. True that. Alcohol, heroin, both beasts. I mean, look, and like I said, there are people who drink that are normal, and hey, enjoy, please. I encourage anyone who can do this stuff and not be a drug addict. But if you're suffering and you know this thing's consumed your life, that's what I'm here for. I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. Took tramadol twice and seizure both times for 7 minutes. Those seizures are no joke. Absolutely true, Gray. I'm telling you, it is no joke. Tramadol is more powerful than people think. Cold turkey, it was a year-long habit, so I'm very surprised I never got a seizure from that. I am too, because I remember taking tramadol a couple times years ago. I took probably 10 to 12 of those 50 milligram ones, and I blanked out while driving where everything went black, but I could hear everything. I couldn't see. And then I came to, and I was drinking fluid right away. I was like, oh my God, something just almost happened to me. So speaking of which, I need some water. But I thought, damn, I'm about to have a seizure for real while driving the car down the road. I know someone who wrecked, actually, my wife's older brother. He was backing out of the driveway and ran into the neighbor's car. And we thought, what the hell's wrong with him? And he had a seizure from tramadol. If you just can help one person, you've done your job. That's true, Feel Good. That's my goal. And I know this helps people. But this might even help motivate some of y'all to start your own thing. And like, okay, well, how can I give back to that which has been given to me? Make this thing grow. There's not too many people who do this on YouTube. Do it. It really helps you in the process. So please, I love seeing success stories. Check out Nicole at Real Talk Recovery. She does these too. I write it down because I've got so much on my plate. It's hard to remember everything. By the way, I never heard anything about a GoFundMe for Ryan's family. Shouldn't somebody reach out to them? Bobby, I've got a 30-second video that I did as an intro to my YouTube channel for newcomers who come to the channel about what my channel's about. It's called I Survived Heroin or something like that. In the comment section, Rockin' Roberta put the GoFundMe account for Ryan's family. He was the breadwinner in that family, and he's gone now. And you can only imagine what that's got to be like when the breadwinner's gone. Struggle. So, yeah, it's there if you want to. It's there to donate. Veronica, will you ever do a meet and greet once your channel goes bigger? And do you have a P.O. box? I don't have a P.O. box. Veronica, and I give this to everybody, reach out to me on my email. Because then we can talk in private about things. I'm careful about saying too much in public just for my own protection and my family's. But if you would reach out to me, my email is Derek, DEREK, the number 4, God, G-O-D, the number 7 at gmail.com. I made that about, I'd say 11 or 12 years ago. I made that email. So email me and then we'll correspond and we'll talk more in detail there. Who's Ryan? Ryan Donnelly. YouTube Ryan Donnelly. If you like what I'm saying, then you should love what he's saying. This guy right here was, you could tell he had emotional sobriety. That guy was chill. He was in his pocket, very, very comfortable. He was explaining his experience, strength, and hope and how he dealt with, man, he has some stories too. So you definitely want to check that out. Thank you, James. I appreciate that. Are you coming off from my day 7 video and you're just now seeing this? Because a lot of people who've been at my day 7 video are like, man, are you still clean? I'm trying to let them see the rest of the channel. So obviously, be great to know. First time on the channel, 2 days sober off alcohol. I see myself not drinking on Thanksgiving an accomplishment. Damn right, boss. Because I was there. I'm telling you, with alcohol too. I'm touching on the heroin because it's such an epidemic, but alcohol was another big problem. There was a lot that happened to me while I was drinking. And I was actually, I told myself I never wanted to be like my dad. And I ended up just like him in many ways. And it's not that dad's a bad person, but the alcohol and the alcoholism I grew up with. I ended up drinking. It took me down a dark path. And my wife and I weren't together. We were separated. And she told me, you hadn't seen your kids in 3 weeks and they want to see their dad, but they want to see him sober. And so I had to try and quit. But either way, that day I had 2 beers. But when I saw her and I saw my kids, I asked her, I said, baby, are you done with me? Are you done with me? And she said, what do you mean? But she knew what I meant. And I said, are you done with me? Because I'm not done with you. And she said, no. And that's when it all happened. I told her, let's run away. At that time, I was doing okay. I took a $15,000 loan out of USAA bank account, and we ran away. We went to Washington State together, and I thought, yes, I'm going to escape all my problems by moving and spending this money somewhere else. Well, for some reason, I found myself drunk there, and I ended up going to an AA meeting in Washington, the Tri-Cities, Washington State. And my sister saved my ass, and she relapsed after 10 years off of methamphetamine. And she saved my ass before she relapsed. So I owe her that much. And I got sober, which is amazing. I'm so thankful that I got sober off alcohol. And that was a tough one, man. Good to see. Okay, a couple of years off, and you can see the difference already. I appreciate you, bro. Thanks, James. Appreciate that too. Good to see you again. Thanks to your videos. I'm staying straight for the most part. Mental battles definitely drawn out versus the physical. Martinez, yeah, I can relate. I know that. That's tough, man. Everyone in here just about can relate to the struggle, and they understand where we're all coming from. So definitely appreciate the shout out. Looking good, bro. Doug, thank you. I try, man. I'm trying to better my life one day at a time, one thing at a time. I hate the buzz of alcohol. Some people hate it. I liked it. That's why I kept drinking. It made me feel better. I don't know. Maybe I was just broken inside, and that's why. 20 nips of Jim Beam for me every day, all day. It gets pretty rough. True that. And then the withdrawal effect and the DTs suck. Plus, I had gotten so dehydrated toward the end of my run from alcohol that I ended up fucking having cramps. I'm talking about my whole body cramped up one time. This is going to sound kind of funny, and it might be too much information, but I'm kind of a guy that's not shy. I'm not shy. My wife is extremely shy. But while I was laying with the wife, if you will, I ended up cramping, the worst cramp I've ever experienced in my life from being dehydrated from alcohol. And my whole body locked up. And I thought I was going to die right then. I felt like I was flexing. My whole body was flexed, and I was freaking out. And I told her, please bring me water, bring me water, bring me water. I kept drinking the water till it finally unlocked. That night, the whole bed was soaked from sweat. So it was horrible. Been watching your videos for years. Just want to say hi and thanks. Thank you, Bone. Appreciate it. Hey, Derek, have you heard of Vivitrol? Yes, my brother was taking Vivitrol shots the first month when he came out of rehab. He was successful for that first month. He didn't go and get another one the next month or when he was supposed to. Relapse. That's how tough this thing is. And those drugs that help people get off, whether it be Suboxone, methadone, Vivitrol, even if you're doing kratom, whatever, those drugs are like when you're bowling in a bowling alley and you've got your bumper guards there, that's great. Unless you want bumper guards there for the rest of your life, you'll eventually taper down and use tools that'll help you feed the good wolf to maintain a sobriety without requiring chemicals to keep you there. That's what happened with me. I definitely am thankful that I was able to do this cold turkey, but not everybody can. And my father pointed that out to me, because you'll notice in my early videos, I was kind of discouraging the idea like a little bit by saying methadone, don't do Suboxone. You know, it's not a great idea. It's better to go cold turkey. He said, don't do that. There are some people who may actually need these things. And so I totally had to take that suggestion from him, because he knows a lot more experience of this by being a doctor and where he was at in the hospital a lot more than I do. So I do know Vivitrol. And do you know if it works for people with addictions? It's an anti-addiction medication for alcoholics and addict. It does work. It can. Oh, that's happened to me for sure. I've been talking in an ambulance twice. But there, if alcohol was the answer, the rivers would run dry. That's true. That's true. Deep saying, James. Deep. But yeah, I relate to a lot of things. Not everything. That's why I can't wait for Kurt to get out, because Kurt can tell you from the cocaine angle. Kurt had been on cocaine real rough, real bad, and the cocaine had him locked. But he didn't just do one thing. Kurt was taking a lot of stuff at once. I was like a one drug at a time guy. When I drank, I drank. I didn't fuck around with anything else. When I was doing heroin, I was only focused on heroin. I wouldn't even take Opan. I wouldn't even do an oxymorphone unless I absolutely couldn't find any heroin. And I remember when I was first getting clean, I knew a person who had pills that if I could get rid of those pills to this guy, I'd made a good amount of money. All right. And I used to do that to get my heroin. Well, I got clean and I was still contacting that guy when I first got clean, and I was making these moves to make $80 off just one move. So I went to a meeting and I talked to them and told them the situation I was in. I was honest. Here I am being honest in a meeting, but willing to take steps. And this guy said, man, this is his exact words. He said, you know that we're all monkeys and you're out here selling bananas. You don't think that you're eventually going to eat a banana and you're a fucking monkey? Sorry about the language, y'all, but these are the words that they told me. And this is in a meeting. And I looked at him. I said, dude, I am a monkey, and eventually I will eat a banana if I keep it up. You're right. So I had to stop that. And I did. I did stop. Even though it was money and I was broke and didn't have any money at first, I had to do that. Just like people who say, should I quit my job or keep my job and try to maintain? Look, if you're like me, you won't maintain. Eventually, it'll consume everything about you and destroy everything in your life, your family, your wife, whatever you have. You know, it's going to take that and eventually consume it. Your health. You might as well go through something now and then make it up from there. All right. Subs and methadone may have their place, but not for me anymore. I can dig that, feel good. That's what I relate to that, because I would take methadone and then eventually I'd find a way to do something else. I would kind of go back and bounce between Suboxone and doing heroin, methadone, going back to heroin. I don't know. I needed something else happening up here. What's the side effects of Vivitrol and any dependency? I don't know. Good question. My brother didn't go back and get the next shot for Vivitrol. So, and then he ended up relapsing. I think it helped him for the first month, but then again, he was drinking beer too. So I don't know, man. I don't know enough about that. Derek, I was right there with you back in October 2015. We got clean the same week. Wow, Side Pocket, still going strong. Love the channel since the beginning. Keep it up, bro. Thank you. I appreciate that. Showing love. Yes, feel good. The monkey see, monkey hear, monkey do. Mahogany kicked kratom after 2-year habit. Wow, that stuff is no joke. Hear this, people. If you're wanting to know about kratom, these are just experiences. That stuff is no joke. Was told it wasn't addictive. That guy was a fat liar. Works on your opioid receptors, and the CT withdrawals were even rougher on me than my tramadol cold turkey. Damn. Okay, kratom withdrawals horrible. I went through from kratom to heroin, believe it or not. Damn, that's tough. that tells you something interesting, because I heard it's a mild high that helps you feel better, but it's easy to abuse. Kratom is. So thank you for that insight. I've heard this before, but just hearing that more makes me wonder, okay, well, dang. I feel like kratom might work if you're actually like you would if you were going to like a clinic where a doctor can help taper you, I guess the best word I would use. The banana. Can you compare the difference of being addict and clean? Your personal journey? Need any motivation I can get? Can you compare the difference of being addict and clean? Man, all I can say is, Martinez, I would check my channel. I can tell you this. Take this to heart. This is a cliche, but it's the absolute gospel. My worst days now are far better than my best days while using. I am far more successful now than I could have ever dreamed of being while I was using. I am so much happier now than I can't tell you how amazing my life is today. Yes, shit hits the fan, but I can solve my problems now. I don't have to go back to using and staying stuck, going to sleep, wondering, all right, do I have enough for the morning? Do I have enough for, the day after tomorrow? There's always that need. So, all right, I hate to say this, but I'm actually using as I'm watching this. I know that I want to get off, but the withdrawals are too much, man. I don't know where or how to start. Look, we know the beast, Slang. We know the beast. I totally recommend getting help for sure. So, yeah. Well, whatever you want. Zaxby's? Just surprise me. I like the buffalo chicken. The wife won't jump on the camera, dude. She's camera shy. Thanks, babe. I love you. She's gonna go grab some food. So, Slang, we can relate. This thing's tough. I never smoked it, Russell. The stuff here in Scotland is designed more for smoking, not hitting. Yeah, I never smoked it. Never have I done that. I've watched, like those shows on TV where intervention and the guys are like hooked on smoking heroin. I never did that, but I went to the worst. I went from snorting it to IV. Slang, I know I want to get off, but I don't know. Yeah, you've got both. I would say get involved in some type of recovery program, man. Like I said, you need people. You need to be honest, like you were just now, and get involved with a group of people. And people, places, and things, obviously, up front is a huge thing in trying to help you get rid of the contacts, but reach out somewhere where people can help you get off the chemical. First step, obviously, honestly, but getting the chemicals out is the first step. Because when I was using, and I like months at the end, I would say I'm going to quit tomorrow when I was high because I felt better. I'm like, oh, I'm going to quit because I feel good. Then tomorrow would come and I wasn't feeling good, and I would tell myself the opposite. I need to get high. Then I'd get high and I'd talk about how I needed to get clean, and then I'd be withdrawn and I'd be like, oh, I need to get high, and I'd go back and forth over and over, and it kept doing that. So I would say while you're clean, get somewhere somehow, or while you're using, because I had to chemical myself up. I need to get somewhere while I'm high where I know I'm not going to escape this, and I'm going to go through and pursue it while I'm high. So I'm happy, but I'm going where I need to go so that once I'm in there and I start detoxing, that's it. I'm not escaping it. I need to focus on going forward. That's all I would say. That's my suggestion on what I would do. All I can do is tell you what I would do. So I hope that helps. I relapsed the other day after over 80 days clean. Try not to fall into a deep depression. So much anxiety. I feel worthless now. It was the worst relapse ever. It's not worth it. True that. Thank you for that. I appreciate you giving me that information. So hold on 1 second, y'all. All right, had to take a call. That was my mama. All right, so I'm sorry that you relapsed. Some say that relapses are part of the necessary process of realizing how bad you really need to keep this and go. I don't know enough to say one way or the other. I do know that it is a learning experience, and it will teach you if you're willing to learn from it. Don't stay in the mud and the muck. I am going to say this, and I don't know if this is true for everyone in here, but I will say, I think most, if not all of us, have relapsed at some point in our experience. And some of us have gone through way worse, and some of us have gone through, not so bad relapses. But I say that to say that's nothing new. So don't feel like beat yourself up. Learn from it, move forward, push through it. It's a good experience because someone needs to know that. Someone needs to know that, Dalix, and you could tell them, look, this is my experience. I relapsed. I wasn't successful. I gave in. I did this and that. And someone might need to hear that, and it might save their ass. Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. Okay, fentanyl is bad. Yep, it damn sure is. I do know it's helping hearing that. Yeah, talk to people too, Sling. You got to talk. Talking makes you feel so much better. Thanks for all your videos. Have an older bro, and we've struggled with opiates for past decade. Both you and Ryan's vids make me very hopeful about my future recovery. I wish you plus Kurt the best. Thank you. Appreciate that, Tyler. That means a lot. It really is motivating and helpful. Guys, gals, thank you. I really appreciate the positive energy, and I'm hoping that this helps some of you. And I'm going to try and do this, each day while I'm home this weekend. And I'll probably start to put it into my regimen, if you will, my schedule, to start doing these live on YouTube and do them at least once a week. That would be great. I can't really talk to family. My mom just talks mad shit. I'm basically the only addict in the family. Yeah, I know that struggle of not having an understanding mother. My father is an alcoholic, and he was in recovery, so I had that to be thankful for. So he was there for me in this process and saying, I understand, son. I know I did things I never thought I would. And I know a way that you can escape. And here it is. And so he pointed me toward the rooms of recovery. So that's what I did. I would reach out to people, start connecting with friends who are here. We do understand, like Phil Good said, reach out to people here, reach out on Facebook. If you need to get up with me, I have a Facebook account, Derek Lambert, DEREK Lambert, LAMBERT. I am very open about who I am and what I do. I wear that I am a drug addict on my chest everywhere in my life, and I'm not ashamed of it. So you either like that or you don't in this world. That's it. And I tell them I am a drug addict who's recovering. I tell my job this. I told my job this when they told me when I first got hired. They said, Derek, could you pass your analysis? Because I have a felony charge, and I told them that. I was very honest. And I said, I definitely pass a piss test. I said, I'm a recovering drug addict, though. Well, didn't have to. Why the hell would I say that? Didn't have to. But I brag about it because it's who I am. I'm not ashamed of who I am. So I wear that like a badge of honor everywhere I go. And there's always someone comes up to me and whispers, hey, bro, I'm struggling, man. This is what's going on. And I go, talk to me, man. What's up? Don't worry. You can trust me. I'm totally willing to hear you, and you will never have to worry about me sharing this with anybody else, giving your name or anything like that. And they come to me in full confidence and tell me the struggles that they've been going through. This happens at my work. This happens in my just surrounding in my life. It's been great. And if I wasn't honest and open about it, someone may not be able to know that they could come and get help. That's how I look at it. I am this. It's weird how some people's worst vices in their life become their greatest weapon for healing humanity. Mine was drug addiction. I harmed the worst in my life through drug addiction, but I'm healing the most through drug addiction. So that's just my experience. Can't really talk family. Yep, we do understand. I've learned that I need to do it for me. Yes, i.e. always focused on taking care of others, putting others first. But I'm learning to do me and do it for myself and no one else, because no one else is gonna do it. That's true. I told my wife that when I first got clean. I said, I don't know if we're going to stay married. And she was crying, and I didn't mean it because I'm a guy. I sometimes didn't really focus on my emotions and what I was saying. I told her, I said, I don't know if it's my marriage or what is the problem in my life. I said, I don't know if this is going to work. I was really worried about it. And this woman loves me so much. She said, whatever you have to do to get clean, I'm going to support you. And that's what she did. She supported me. So, and I had done everything wrong to her in this world. I just said, I'm worried I'm going to die. Please. I don't know what's going to happen. Just give me some time to work on me. And sure enough, she supported it. She was like, let's go to a meeting. She pushed my ass. Sometimes I didn't want to go. And she's like, let's go. Let's go. So that's the truth. Just telling you, I had to do it for me, and my wife supported me and pushed me to keep going. All right. You added me. So just write me, Dalix, in Messenger on Facebook. Martinez, I often sit and think how much my life would have been today had I not got on pain pills at 20. I'm 30 now. Just feel like kicking my own ass. I had more to my name at 18 than 30. Look, you can get it all back. It doesn't take long. I am 3 years clean, and I have things, I have some things, and I have a lot of bills, but I have some things. And those things come back. Jobs come back. Stuff is easily replaced over time. Doesn't seem easy at first because you're depressed because you don't have money. And I know that feeling where you're like, damn it, I don't have any money. I'm so depressed. But it will. I'm telling you, it will come back. It's nothing. Those are things. But the most important things are the things you can't buy. And that's the most important thing about this is getting those deep spiritual things. I have my wife, I have my children. I almost lost them to DSS. I almost got locked up just like her. Thank God I got clean just in time to go past the urinalysis at probation. Wow. I mean, it is a miracle. All right. No one else is going to do it for us. We got to do it ourselves and learn to love ourselves. That's true. I love myself today. And I want everyone on here to love themselves, because I'm going to tell you something so basic and fundamental that I learned. If you don't love yourself, you can't love others. You can't. There's just no way that you can. You're reflecting what is inside you toward other people, and you have to love yourself. That's how I ended up loving other people. And I show that love because I do care about myself. And my wife sees that. She's like, you take better care of yourself physically, and also spiritually than you ever have, especially if you were using. But I've never been this on top of my brain in my life. All thanks to help. I couldn't do it by myself. I am in constant contact with someone who knows these things and helps me work on them. Still to this day, 3 years plus counting. So I say that to say, get in lock with someone who is aware of this stuff and start to reach out for help somewhere nearby. Do you ruin your credit through your addiction? Mine is shot to hell. That's the most depressing part for me. Not sure where to start on repairing it. Yeah, I had freaking horrible credit. In fact, if it wasn't for my awesome wife dealing with the money, I would be up shit creek right now with my credit. But my credit's actually halfway decent now. I actually purchased a nice vehicle for her. But it's not as good as it could be. I mean, I got a lot on my credit. So, yeah, I'm surprised, that I even have what I have. I didn't think I'd have it. I was so in a dark spot, you don't see at all that the sun is going to shine again. But I promise you, the sun will shine again. If you get clean and you focus on these things, I'm telling you, it will get better. It's tough being around people who are insensitive but aren't meaning to. Told coworker I have very addictive personality. The next moment offers me a cigarette. Laugh out loud, like, really, dude? I was just saying. Oh, I get that all the time. I walk out of my hotel room. I got guys. They're grown ass men. They drink, and they know I'm an alcoholic, but they don't really care because they're focused on them. And they got this bottle of alcohol, and they're sitting there. Hey, D, you want it? And I'm like, nah. And they're like, nah, just hit the bottom. It's for good luck. So I go like that. Yeah, that's awesome, man. Look, guys, have a good night. I'm their supervisor and stuff. So I always stick in my room, and I have another program on YouTube that I do called The Water Boys. I talk about spiritual stuff, ancient myths, religions, astrological stuff, astrology, with the zodiac. I talk about a lot of crazy, cool stuff. We talk about everything on that show, but it's just getting started. If you want to show it some love, I'll put it in the description of this video too, if you guys want to go check that out. But, subscribe here, subscribe there. You can stay in touch with some of my spiritual nature of what I talk about and think about. And, some of the stuff's controversial as hell, but I do it anyway. It just fascinates me. All right. That's so true. My credit is also shot to hell. True that. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing and motivation. Your videos help a lot. You always pop up on my YouTube feed and on a daily reminder that we are in this fight together and no one is alone. That's true. Thank you. We're not alone. We have each other, and I appreciate it. I'm going to keep doing this. I'm not going to stop. I'm going to have haters, but I'm not going to stop. Avengers, sun will shine on us again, and that's the truth. That is true. There's some interesting stuff, man, that deals with that. There's a lot of metaphors I could use, but that little phrase in the Old Testament of the Bible, he talks about the love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, all thy mind, everything, and to love your neighbor as yourself. Well, those principles aren't just in the Bible. They're everywhere. They're in all cultures and religions. But it's funny that you interestingly brought up that point where it says to make his face to shine upon you. Okay? He maketh his face to shine upon you. I believe that's the light. That's that concept of what we're talking about here, that the sun will shine again. And it's not necessarily, it is physically true, but it is also true in our experiences. So there's a lot here. Glad we can relate to one another. I'm going to start working out again. That also helped the most in the past. Yes, working out will definitely help. I didn't work out when I first got clean because I've actually had problems with steroids in the past. Dude, I'm a drug addict. I'm an addict. I've done steroids before. I used to lift a lot of weights, and I got real big and thought I was the shit, man. When I lifted weights, I thought I was a god. I mean, I treated my wife like, you don't need to be disrespectful to me. Woman, I could do better. And I was doing a lot of different stuff in the past. So I have experiences with those too, but I'm careful about that. If I was to start working out again, I'd probably just run and start light weights and stuff, and just to get in shape rather than build for muscle, because when my muscle builds, my head blows up and I think I'm more than what I am. So that's just my my experience. But yeah, if you guys have something else you want to talk about, I'll go ahead and touch on that, because we're coming up on a 2-hour mark, and I don't want to miss anybody. If you have anything you want to ask, or okay, does the Bible help you? Slang, good question, because this is something I touch on in my other channel, The Water Boys. That is THE, water, boys with a Z, okay? I do believe something higher is out there. Yes, so you want my honest opinion. This is going to shut some people down. I don't mean to do this. This is just my research, okay? The Bible carries an esoteric, and look up that word esoteric, a spiritual truth about it. So do all of them. They're all talking about something esoteric. All right, at least ancient ones are. All right, and I personally on my journey am trying to net them together. I'm trying to find out what the parallels are. What is the truth? Why do they all have the same similar themes and stories and so forth? So I read that like I would listen to someone at an AA meeting. I read the Bible like I would listen to someone at an AA meeting. How can I relate? So an example, Jesus was crucified between two thieves, right? Well, people think that's a literal historical event, all right? I personally look at it as we're all crucified between two thieves, the past and the future. And here you are in the middle, in between. And so there's a lot that I can go into this, but I take these things not literal in that aspect, but rather personal. I apply them esoterically, spiritually. And I think there's reason behind that, and I can go into that on my other show, or maybe sometime we could talk about that in here. But I think it's much better to take these texts that way than to take them in a literal historical sense, in my opinion. And I can go further into stories, but that's how I read these ancient manuscripts. And there's so much that I talk about on the other show, The Water Boys, you might like. You may not like it. That's cool. Still stick in here. Just because I may have a different belief than you, please don't, don't block me off or anything like that just for that, Yeah. I'll put it in the description. All right. Does your sleep ever get better? Do you still have using dreams? I feel like dope just fucked my dreams up for life. Do you ever get cravings still? Absolutely. I still get cravings. Not cravings. Let me rephrase that. Not cravings. I have dreams where I used, and in the dream, I pursued it. But I wake up and I'm like, thank God it was just a dream. So that was Daylex. On a constant journey to find the spiritual light. True that, Mahogany. That's the goal for me. I'm always trying to pursue that and learn more. And how does this work out for us? I mean, dude, there's so much I could talk about with that. I really don't want to go into that now because once we open that can of worms, I'm going to go on and on and on about it. But I will have these shows if you want, and we could talk about that. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, slang, religion's used to control the masses as well. So there's good and there's evil in this, Yes, I did. Yes, Martinez. I used to be very religious, and I had a YouTube channel where I talk about those things. Now I'm more like open minded to all sorts of stuff. So it took a journey, but I'm here. So I ain't trying to preach, but I'm just telling you guys and gals that that's my journey, my experience, and it helps me preoccupy my brain. Sometimes I escape my problems to this day by researching stuff. That's one of the tools I use to escape problems that I can't handle at the moment. And so I'll go and I'll start researching and studying, or like some people will do, they'll watch TV, or some people will go for a walk or whatever. I'll research. I get on there and I start studying and I look for the parallels between ancient texts. I go, oh, Krishna from Hindu, the Hindu religion. Krishna had 12 disciples. Jesus had 12 disciples. There's 12 tribes of Israel. There's 12 in Buddha. Serapis. He was a combination of Apis and Osiris in the Egyptian myths. He was taken over by the Greeks. They combined Osiris and made him Serapis. He had 12 followers. He was the light of the world. There's all these themes in all these different ancient texts. So I get really into that and I say, well, what do they have in common? And why are we divided? So, we shouldn't be, in my opinion. Did you ever get a channel? Yes. Yeah. Appreciate that, Slang. Look, smell of the outside nature is so much more rewarding, clean, and sober for me personally. You notice this any? Absolutely. Absolutely. You smell the seasons change. You're noticing things you wouldn't notice. In fact, you were in a dream state. I think Ryan Donnelly did a video on this where he talked about how it was like you're in a fog. I felt like it was like a long dream. And then I finally woke up and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to go back to sleep, if you get what I'm saying. Metaphorically speaking, I don't want to go back to sleep. And that dream was a nightmare, it really was. What do you do when you crave for dope? I don't crave today, Cheyenne, but I've originally, when I was first getting off and I was craving it, I had to do things. I had to act. I had to go and do things, speak to people, get preoccupied with stuff. I had to first get rid of people, places, and things. That's the first thing, is get rid of the people that you were getting it from, or people that associate with people who get it from. Get rid of all of that. That's a big step. Places, stop going to those places, and anything that might cause you to go back to it. Those are the things I had to get rid of first. Then I was actively involved in things that took my mind off of using, and that was going to meetings, listening to people who successfully made it, and a variety of different things. Researching, watching shows, all that stuff. My music vids, Slang. I got music vids. I'm not sure which ones you're talking about. Okay, I appreciate music a lot more. That's exactly what it was, a fog, and that is true. It is a fog. It's like a damn nightmare, man. And you don't know how to wake up. That's the scary part. All right. Oh yeah, definitely. Music gave me chills. You got that right. Look, guys, 2 hours. I hit the 2 hour mark. I'm gonna get out of here. I think the wife's about to pull up with the food. I love y'all. I really do. I appreciate all the positive feedback. I'm going to try and do this again tomorrow. Shit, I might even get back on tonight if I can. We'll see. But I really appreciate all the feedback. And I'll try and get my pops from Canada. He did call me back, and I never picked up. But that would have been a great conversation, asking him some of these things or listening some wisdom from somebody who's a professional in the field. Add me on Facebook, absolutely. And write me on Facebook Messenger letting me know that you're on my recovery thing and you saw that, because I have a lot of fake accounts. A lot of them are like people who are trying to, push a certain website or a porn site or some crap. And I'm like, all right, delete. I'm trying to find people who are really coming over from here. So add me, write me, you got it. You know what I'm saying? Much love, everybody. And I encourage, keep coming back. Check out The Water Boys. It's The Water Boys with a Z YouTube program. And I'll put it in the link of this video at the description. And subscribe here, share this video. It helps me and it might help someone else. And I appreciate you helping me out. Thank you. Peace out. Have a good one, brother. Okay, cool. I'll message you in a few. Absolutely. Out of everyone that I started using pills will ended up on age. Luckily, I never haven't ended up doing it. It's mainly because I'm scared of it. Good. Don't ever do it. Ever. If you can help that. I don't know where. Write me on Facebook. I'm going to get out of here, y'all. I love y'all. Thank you for the support. And hopefully you'll start your own channel. And I'll sub, I'll share it, I'll show you love. Do the same for me. Thank you. I'm outie. Later.